What surprised me most about this study was that the people who played the guards took their role so seriously to the point that they were beating and treating them so poorly. And I believe this study was unethical to the severe extent and harassment the guards inflicted, and the fact that the prisoners thought they couldn't leave whatsoever, and that they didn't tell them any different. They just let them think that they weren't allowed to leave for that certain period of time, and it drove a lot of people insane. Um, in this experiment, if I was a prisoner, I feel that I would have reacted in a similar way. Um, if I felt that I couldn't leave, I would have done the same thing. I would have felt like I was crazy. I again, like, you never know how you're going to react in this situation, but like, some of them were doing like a hunger strike, or just like losing their mind in general, or snapping back at the guards, which I would have done as well if I was getting beaten and harassed and embarrassed and humiliated in front of everybody. And if I was a guard, I feel as if I wouldn't have reacted the same way as the guards did in this situation. Again, I don't really know how I actually would have reacted in this situation. This is just a personal guess on my own behavior. But I feel as if I would have had empathy for the prisoners, and I wouldn't have been able to just beat them. I would have been able to take the role on as the guard. But as the other guards got more aggressive and were beating people and harassing them and putting them in solitary just because they were speaking back to them about what they wanted, I wouldn't have been able to do that. I would have thought that we were the same in the back of my mind, because they were on the exact same level. They were all human, they were all people, and they were treating them as if they were animals. I believe that this study, compared to the Milgram study, this one was more problematic. I think that the Zimbardo study was worse, because with the Milgram study, they knew within a 12-hour period that they were allowed to leave, that they weren't being held captive there, and they were explained to them what was going on and that it wasn't real. And I do think it affected them mentally, but not as bad as the Zimbardo experiment affected these people. These people genuinely thought that they were stuck there, that they could not leave, even though that was never said, but they just automatically assumed that they couldn't leave, and they were just going to have to endure this torture the entire time, which was horrible. And that makes me understand why they felt as if they lost their minds and the feeling of humanity, because they were not being treated like humans. I think that, in my opinion, what he should have done differently is, he shouldn't have conducted this experiment at all, because it is horrible. But I think that he definitely should have not taken on the double role as the superintendent and the person who was heading the experiment. He definitely, because, as he was saying, he was disassociated from the actual experiment, so he didn't really understand, and these people didn't understand either, that it was an experiment, because he took the role too far. I think that he should have had somebody there that could have stopped this when it got super out of hand, like to the point when they were beating people. They could have said, okay, this is enough. We can't just beat these people because you're the guard and you think that that's like ethically okay. And how much he made these people endure, and how nobody said anything to stop it. And he should have obtained a better outcome, and he has a lot of guilt about what he put these innocent people through. Like, after this experiment, these people had genuine trauma from like what they endured, because they had no idea that it was fake, and they had no idea that they were just allowed to leave either. They thought they were stuck, and it got way out of control, and he genuinely traumatized these people. And if this study were conducted today, I believe that people wouldn't be as willing to listen and just endure every single punishment. There would definitely be a pushback from people and more questions asked before just agreeing. Because this study before, it was just these people were just following because this was the authority figure, so they didn't think that they could talk back or they could, put up a fight to stop this. They just thought that they were stuck there. But I do think in our generation and in this time period, people would question it. They wouldn't want to listen. They would try and leave anyways, even though they knew, like, even though if they thought they weren't allowed to leave, they would still try and leave. And these are my answers. Thank you.